Okay, we're now in Psalm 139:14, and the key verb here in question is highlighted in yellow, nifleti. Let me show you what it means. Okay. Nifleti does mean to be marked out. It is a special verb. It only occurs in Exodus. Okay? And Psalms is always using the Exodus meaning. The Exodus meaning was during the plagues, which we're going to look at. Okay? To be distinct and to be marked out has to do with spotlighting territory. See, this is the usage. The Lord set apart the land of Goshen away from the plagues. Every single use of this verb is in Exodus during the plagues. And so when David is using it here, he's talking about that time. He's relating to that time. He is set apart, like the land of Goshen was set apart. Okay? There's a lot more to it than that. This is an extremely rich passage. It's going to take me a while. I'm going to have to just really slog through the Hebrew with you. It's going to be 6-7 videos minimum. Okay? But this is what it means. It does not mean made. That's the one thing it does not mean. It does not mean wonderfully made. See, they're using let me show you. Where is it? Okay? This is the verb I just showed you. It means to be distinct and marked out. It does not mean to be made. Has nothing to do with making at all. Zero. It has to do with spotlighting one group of people versus another group of people, because this group of people was a group of people who came out of the Exodus during the plague. See, set apart. It's the only place it's used in the Bible. The only way it's used in the Bible. So David is talking back to it. Now, the King James scholars, they didn't have easy access to a computer. They could check all the uses of the verb. They were trying to figure out what the heck David was talking about, because he launched into poetry here. So you can forgive them, but you can't forgive any of the modern translations at all. They all should have looked it up on the computer to find out what this word means. Complete travesty. Real crime of translation here. So let's get into what this is. Alright. Again, Hebrew pala is translated to be distinct or marked out, and it's a specific kind of marking out. The Lord setting apart the land of Goshen from the plague. So we're now going to look at those verses. Okay. These are the verses in the Hebrew. Okay. Alright. Okay, these are the verses that show what we just saw. Let me get rid of. Okay, this was the verse that we saw. This is the verse that we're in. The word highlighted in yellow is the one we're looking up to show this is what you should do if you were a good pastor. Okay? You're supposed to look at the other uses of the word, especially when the translations are goofball. But you're supposed to always look up how a word is used in the Bible. You don't just use the lexicons, you see how it's used. That's what we're doing now. This is why being a pastor is so important. This is why if you find a good pastor, and they are few, but they do exist, he's worth pure gold. All the gold in the universe is not worth as much as that pastor. Okay, so find a good one now. This is what he has to do. Okay, here is another use of the word. In fact, they're all in Exodus, as you can see on the right-hand side. Okay, wafleti. Okay, and that's our verb, pala, right here. Alright, but I'm going to show you just the English so that you know. See, on that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, so that no swarms of insects will be there. In other words, everybody was going to get the swarms of insects, except Goshen. Now, what does that mean? Well, think about this. This is really important to the Psalms. the swarms of insects are going to cloud over the sky and make it dark. But in Goshen, it's going to be light. Why? Because there are no insects there. That's exactly the analogy. Remember when we started with episode 6? David is making a distinction between dark and light. In Psalm 139:13, we saw dark being in the womb. His body, his booth, was being made in the womb, his house. But now David is talking about his soul, as we're going to see at the end of the verse. All right? He's talking about his soul, and he's in the light because he's above ground. And we're going to see that word play too. All right? So now he's using a word that's very well known, very famous word for set apart, that was only used during the Exodus. The Bible has other words for set apart, but this one's special. So he's talking about he's being set apart like the land of Goshen was set apart. All right? And the next use of the word is the same kind of idea. The Lord will make a distinction so that nothing will die of that belongs to the sons of Israel. In other words, the livestock will be living and the other livestock will die. So in that sense, the Lord is making a showcase, a spotlight on Israel. It's a spotlight. It's a spotlight on living Israel. It's not a body thing. The Lord is saying who his own are. It's a distinction of light. Okay? Next verse, same idea. I just want you to see it. Okay. Nobody's going to go against the sons of Israel. Not even a dog is going to bark. Again, that's the same thing. All right? Distinction. That's the word that's highlighted in yellow and in blue here. So you will understand how the Lord makes a distinction. When you spotlight, you put a higher, stronger light on what you're spotlighting, and everything else is comparatively dark. That's what David is explaining when he uses the word pala. Okay? Again, Exodus 33. All right? May be distinguished. I and your people may be distinguished. That's the word highlighted in yellow. All right? How are you going to spotlight me? David is talking about spotlight. He is not talking about the formation of his body parts now. He's talking about spotlight. He's talking about light. All right? So this is complete lie. Everything about that is a lie. It's not I am mere fearfully and wonderfully made. I am spotlighted. I am spotlighted just like we saw here and here and here and here. He's using the exact same verb that was used to spotlight the Jews in the Exodus. And of course, David being king chosen to be, the father of Messiah, that's a pretty big spotlight. And it's a light. So now let's go through the rest of the words. I mean, they're pretty straightforward except for that. Okay. Here is odka. And there's wordplay here, but let me just first go through what the Hebrew word is. It does mean to confess, praise, or give thanks. The hifil means that he's caused. He's caused. There's a reason. He's caused. Okay? And this is the object. You cause. See this part here? That means you as a suffix, as the object. So odka means I am caused to praise you. And here's this wordplay is awesome. Isaiah does the same thing. El. That is the oldest sound, spelled differently, for the word God. It literally means above. Okay? Let me show you. This is really important because the wordplay here is fantastic. See? Al. Above. See, David is now above ground. David is not in the dark. David is not in the womb. David was never in the womb. David is light now. David is above. David can praise because he's above ground. The dead don't praise you. Fetuses don't praise. Okay? So I give thanks. I'm caused to give thanks up, above. Okay? And this is the root word. See, look at all these related words. Burnt offering, go up and climb. They're all related roots. Okay? Ascent. In other words, he's not in the womb. Okay? And he's not talking about his body. He's talking about up to God. Giving praise up to God. Play on the sound God. Okay? So this is, I am caused to praise up, above ground. Where I'm standing now, talking to you. God, Al.